Let's work on blocking in the upper body of our take. For the most part, the feet we can call finished. So let's go ahead and bring our attention to the arms and to the torso. So starting with the torso, let's go ahead and select the chest, and as the character is coming down at about frame 1, we could start to bring a little bit of squash into his stomach, and then even start to rotate him a little bit to his left as he prepares to land. Same with his back control, we'll do the same. Alright, great. And what we'll also do is at about 107, let's even have his eyes close here. So we'll close them because he can't bear to see what has just happened. Alright, great. What we'll also need to do as well, if you notice on 110, the arm is going through the character's head and we don't want that, so let's go ahead and adjust this. We can remove some of the squash on his stomach, bring that up a little bit more, and then rotate the chest slightly back, and then rotate the back backwards as well, so that the hand is just guarding the face. Okay, excellent. So this is looking very well already. And now what we could do is start adding some movement to the arms to get a flail. So let's say on frame 105, as the character is jumping back, we'll have the move counterclockwise. So we'll have this right arm move up, rotate downward, go to the elbow control and bring that up. We want to be conscious of the line of action and make sure that they're going to be strong so we can get some really nice looking poses. And then we'll also want to attend to the fingers, but we'll get to those. Okay, and remember to really have fun with these poses. You can get some really interesting line of actions here, but we don't want to take them too extreme where it looks unnatural or it doesn't look quite well. So we can go to this left arm, bring that up, and maybe really stretch that out a little bit more. Rotate in the hand, bring down the shoulder. Great. And then as we get to our next pose on, let's say about frame 107, can have this arm kick out, this left arm or right arm. I'm getting them mixed up, sorry. Have that get thrown out, and then we'll adjust the shoulder here. Okay, remember we don't want the arms to do the same thing at the same time, so let's add a little bit of offset so we can avoid twinning. So move this arm back. Maybe rotate the wrist down for follow through since the arm is moving up quite rapidly. Great, and then by 10, let's say about 109 or so, we have the arms come down. Okay, it's going to look kind of snappy, and that's actually what we want to go for, but again, we want to avoid it being too snappy. We'll add a slight adjustment to the shoulder as needed and go back to the next arm and maybe even bring that up over his head. Okay, and then maybe bring that back too, and then rotate the shoulder up. Alright, let's see how this looks. Alright, it looks like the pose might be a little bit too abrupt as the arm is going from 9 to 10. So let's add a little in between here. And a cool thing we could do is use the keyframe marking menu for this, so we could actually offset this pose on frame 10. So it happens a little bit later for the arms. So let's go ahead and just turn off our character set, and we can select the arms. And the way this works is we'd simply go to a frame before where we'd like to add a little bit of space or an in-between. So on frame 109, we'll go there. We'll hold Shift, S, and the left mouse button, and this is the keyframe marking menu. So this is really cool. We can get to a number of things, copying and pasting keys, deleting keys. But let's add an in-between and notice what happens. It's going to add a space in the animation, and actually what it did was it added a space where we actually spaced 9 and 10, so I'll just undo that. Go to frame 10 and just add the in-between there. So again, hold Shift, hold the S key, hold down the left mouse button and add the in-between just to shift the keys for the hands down one frame. But notice what it does is it adds a space in here, moves the key adjacent to it further in time down one more frame. Okay, and removing in-betweens moves the key in the opposite direction. But this is great for doing just what it says, adding another pose in between others to correct our follow-through. Alright, so now on 110, let's go ahead and have this, let's left this right arm come down. We'll actually have it move out a little bit here and rotate that outwards like so. Can do a slight adjustment to the shoulder as well. Bring that down. And we'll need to grab this left arm that's all the way up here. We'll bring that down. Let's even see what would happen if we brought it behind his head. Yeah, it sounds pretty wonky, but this is a wonky type of animation. Okay, so we want to see how far we can take our poses. Alright, that might not work too well because we'll probably have the hand going through the head there, but what we'll do is just move it so that it's a little bit more out. Let's see how this looks. Okay, we'll even go to our shot camera, hide our control curves and see how this looks. So it almost looks like, because of the flow here that we're getting with this left arm, we're going to need to bring in the hand a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and select that. And as we start to smooth out the animation, we'll look at some ways we can adjust our arcs and things of that nature so we have a nice, accurate, and appealing animation. Alright, that looks like it's going to work out much better, just bringing in the hand a little bit more. Great. Well, again, we can look at this in the shot camera to make sure that we're happy with the results that we have. Alright, great. So that brings our attention now to the fingers. So let's go ahead and work on those. On frame 104, we'll select the right arm control, we'll rotate that out, and we want to really spread the fingers out here because he's shocked. So keeping that attitude in mind, let's go ahead and have the fingers curl out. And we'll add a little bit of offset here. Go to our index, the root of that, roll that out, and then add a spread. Curl it in, and then go to the pinky, maybe bring down its AZ attribute slightly, and then bring down the BZ a bit more, so we could have a nice offset. And we can roll out the Y, and then curl in roll out in the X as well. Alright, great. And then from here, let's go to the ring finger and bring down the Z. And then we can attend to the thumb, bringing that out just a little bit. Okay, and rolling out the end of that finger. All right, let's see how this looks in the shot camera. All right, great. So we're having a nice pose from the fingers. And we're kind of getting the same thing from the left side, but we can adjust that some more. So we'll go to the left fingers and we'll adjust them. Doing a similar process on this side that we did on the right. Just so that the fingers look a little bit interesting. And don't hesitate to really push your poses, because that is going to, if done correctly, make the animation that much more appealing. Okay. And to really get the poses solid, it's going to take, of course, just practicing, trial and error, because that's how we improve at what we do. So, of course, the same thing would apply in animation as well. And from this, you even get your own styles. Okay, so the fingers are looking quite well, and now we can go to the next pose and adjust the fingers here. Okay, so we'll just do a slight adjustment to them. Maybe even, let's say, curl in the pinky and the ring finger. But then maybe bring up the pinky a little bit more here and possibly spread that. Fix its rotation X and bring it up, let's say, in the mid joint of the finger. Then we can go to the index and adjust it. Okay, so let's see how this looks in the shot camera. We always want to be mindful of what's happening in this camera. Looks like the index could be spread out a little bit more so we can see it better. Great. And then for the right hand, we could just add a slight change to them. Just selecting last three, just curling those in, going to the thumb, selecting just all attributes here, just adding a slight change to it. So we don't want to move this too much, just so we have a pose there, and so we could see it change. Alright, great. So now as we continue, as the arm comes down on, let's say, 109, we could have the fingers curl in for the right hand. So curl the fingers in here, curl in that thumb. Okay, maybe even adjust it in its Y as well. There we are. And then for the left hand, we'll also curl in that. So what you could even do is go through and zero everything out, just holding control and dragging down and zeroing these attributes out. Again, starting from scratch, because it might make it a little bit easier to add a different change to the fingers. So once we've curled in the index, we can go to the rest of the fingers here, curl those in a little bit more. Maybe bring up the mid. And then select them all and curl them in once more. Again, just adding a slight offset here. And we can do the same for the thumb. Okay, great. And then by the time we get to our pose on frame 11, we're just fine. All right, excellent. So if we wanted to now, we can go ahead and look at our little take that we've added. Hitting play to see how that's coming along. Great. So it's going to be a pretty snappy, quick action, but it's going to add a lot to the expression of this character. Great. Well, that is going to finish off this lesson, and we have some more in-betweens to add. Okay, so what we'll do is go ahead and stop the lesson here, and in the next lesson we'll get to those, work on getting to those next in-betweens.